Here comes Westborough TV.
Oh. We're ready whenever you want to put up. So we did just go over, we read the statement about the open meeting law. And now our agenda is pretty small tonight. This meeting is just really just kind of start discussions regarding the beach and how everybody feels about what the plan could be for this summer. So I do have a couple of slides to sort of step us through. And just as a note, none of this is set in stone. All of this is up for discussion. This is just sort of what we've been thinking about on a preliminary basis. So let me just share my screen really quick. Okay. So, okay. There we go. Okay. So like I said, this is just kind of a preliminary discussion. I've been on a couple of meetings with other departments that have beaches or aquatic facilities. So this first option that you're going to see is actually something that they did in Wellesley last year that said that worked really, really well for them. And I know a couple of other towns around us are toying with this idea as well. And the options are just this. I'm only talking about this one first because it's the newest idea. The other two, it doesn't mean that I like them less because they're last. It's just that it's stuff that we've already done. So for this first option, the beach would open and we would operate it with no lifeguards. Let me actually do this. Go into there we go. Okay. So yeah, we instead of lifeguards, we would have what towns are calling park rangers. The kids would staff the beach in a way to make sure their main job would be to make sure people are following COVID protocols. They would be responsible for cleaning the bathrooms, keeping the beach overall clean, and just kind of making sure people were following all of our rules and regulations. They would also be parking attendants. So we would not be charging to use the beach. We'd be charging only to park. So residents would be able to purchase day passes in 2-hour blocks. So 10 to 12, 12:30 to 2:30, and so on. In between each block of time, the park rangers would clean the bathrooms, and kind of just get stuff ready for the next block of people. Thinking 3 to 4 rangers would be scheduled per shift or per day. The beach hours would be 10 to 4 p.m. I wanted to show you. I can do that after. So some pros of this: we don't have a ton of returning lifeguards coming back. We don't have a beach director as of right now. We are advertising for it, but the lack of staff, this model, it would help. Maybe we could get some kids on board this summer, get them used to being at the beach, things like that. And then next year when we open for real, these kids would already kind of have a year sort of under their belt. This would be a good, transition plan from going from not opening the beach. So now this would be kind of a soft opening, and then next year a full open. This would be like a good kind of transition. The loss in revenue at the beach, from what I calculated, would be about the same if we were open normally, around 11,000. I have a screen I can show in a minute. Wellesley did this last year, and they can't say enough about it. It worked really well for them. They're doing it again this year, and I heard too that they might just never go back to regular lifeguards. It works so well. While we are, we could always be liable for something. The Massachusetts recreation statute protects us because we're not charging people to use the beach. We are charging people to use the parking lot. So that's kind of how Wellesley's attorney worked around that. The interpretation of the law is that we're charging to use the parking lot, not the actual beach. So if something, God forbid, were to happen, we wouldn't be liable. So some cons. Parking. The very popular pickleball court shares a parking lot with the beach. So managing the parking situation between who's there to use the beach and who is there just to play pickleball would be a challenge, but I believe it would be doable. Liability. So I just went through the whole thing where the rec statute says we wouldn't be held liable because we aren't charging anything. But in an emergency situation, these rangers would just be calling 911 instead of going through a typical procedure where if there's a child missing, typically lifeguards will clear the water. There's a whole process that ensues. They wouldn't be doing any of that. It would just be waiting, calling 911, maybe taking some basic information from the concerned patron, but otherwise they wouldn't be, performing CPR or anything like that. So again, we're employing lifeguards that would be essentially asked not to act as lifeguards. Having a daily rate would be an administrative challenge. We don't have internet down there, so it would be a matter of making sure that all of the lifeguards have up-to-date rosters of who is signed up for what days and when. Again, that's a challenge, but I think that's doable.
Jen,
yep,
can I ask you some questions about that option?
Sure.
So,
Yep.
just out of curiosity, how would you do the parking lot? Because that's the first thing I thought of was the pickleballers. How would you be able to distinguish? And if it's the parking lot we're charging for,
Yep.
How do you make it fair that you don't charge everybody? Like, clearly
Yep.
there's going to be a different assigned value on the space, whether they're going to the beach or they're pickleballing.
Yep. So is basically what I was gonna do. Is what I was thinking was the spaces closest to the pickleball courts would be reserved for pickleball. The spaces furthest away and then half in the middle would be reserved for the beach. What we have to take into account also is that there's still probably going to be crowd limits. So each block would only allow for right now 20 families. So 20 families per block. So we would only really need 20 spaces. And there can be 6 people in a family that could use the beach. So just like we would on the season pass when, we allow up to 6 in a family. And I don't know why.
Did Wellesley have a conflict as well where the parking lot was being used for something other than their beach?
No, they did not. So that definitely is here it is, unique to us. Not, and even the other towns that are considering this model don't have this problem.
Yeah.
So here was the accounting. And again, these are numbers. I think we could probably go up if we were to go to this model. I think 20 is pretty modest, but it would be 20 groups every 2 hours at $5. So you see $300 a day. And so I did it by days. So I projected that we would be open officially for 56 days, but I took 6 days away for rain and just, I don't know. And this is obviously based on selling out every day, which I tend to feel like we would, but I don't know. So we would make 15,000, and then for salaries, that's the biggest expense. So we spend almost, a little over 19,000 in salaries, and then another 7,600 in other things if we were to open. So we'd lose, like I said, around 11,000, closer to 12, like we do every year.
Jen, let me ask you another question.
Sure.
In our history, as much as you can tell from any stats we might have, how many times has a lifeguard actually had to do any kind of lifeguard certified activity, like a life-saving event or trouble in the water?
So as far as a life-saving event, nothing that I know of. The most would be, I know a couple of years ago, there was a missing person, and it was that all of, I think, I think it comes up, hey, I haven't seen my child, but this was a real kind of life. Where's my kid? They did the whole clear the water, link arms, walk through. That was once maybe 3, 4 years ago, but it's rare. Thank
What
God.
happened in that case? Was the child not in the water?
Oh, I think he was in the bathroom in the
Okay,
mud.
okay,
He
okay,
wasn't in the water.
all right. Okay, and the park rangers that we might have now instead. So the one of the obvious differences are they're not in their bathing suit ready to go into water. They're just patrolling the area and doing
Yep.
some maintenance, some cleanup and stuff.
Yep. And just making sure, Wellesley even had walkways, it was almost like they sectioned off. So it'd be like, okay, Bill, your family's going to section 1. So it would be like making sure people knew where that section was.
Yeah.
If we wanted to go down the road of like, you have to, like you're in the grocery store, you can only walk one way to the beach. It would be that if somebody had a complaint about somebody not wearing a mask or a COVID concern, the rangers would be there to do that. And then any other kind of, complaints or customer service type things that could come up.
And do they pay for the parking before they get there, or they pay for it like there's a parking lot attendant type of a deal?
No, it would all be before online through our database. So that like I said will be challenging.
Hmm.
Can you go back to the
The spreadsheet, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you just scroll up a sec?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess what I probably am curious about is, did you run an option of hybrid between 1 and 2, which would be no lifeguards, no charging to park, but like a cleaning crew?
So we could try that, but the thing is that we'd have no way to cover their salary expense.
Right.
So option 2 would be to just operate as we did last year, which was,
Were the bathrooms closed?
yes, they were.
And plenty of people used it.
Yep. And I should know Wellesley chooses with this model to not open their bathrooms. They say it's a local beach. People get there. I don't love that. If we're closed, we're closed. That's one thing. But if we were going to be open with the park ranger model, I think we would have to open the bathrooms. I just would get worried about where people are using the bathroom. It's bound to happen. Little kids, you're going to need to go to the bathroom, I think.
Can I ask a question, Jen, about the rangers?
Yeah.
Would they be all adults, or what would the?
So it would be I think I have 3 or 4 lifeguards that want to come back. So it would be high school, college kids. These are all college kids. So it would be the same people. That's who we'd employ. The college kids or anyone in high school that's old enough, 16 and over, to be a lifeguard.
Okay, but they would not be a lifeguard this year. They would just be.
Right, they would just be rangers. So I guess they wouldn't need a lifeguard certification, obviously. So it would just be, it could be high school kids. I want someone, maybe this isn't their first job ever, to be this. So we can always, you're not supposed to say they have to be 16 and older, but there's wording you can put in, like so many years of experience working at either a camp or a customer service job. Because even if we did go with this model, while they're not saving lives, I just think with COVID and having to deal with, questions, complaints, it might be good if they've had some experience. So I anticipate it would be 16 and older, juniors, seniors in high school, and older and into college.
Okay.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Here's what I want. We're gonna need somebody to take in charge down there. Like maybe Adam or Steven or somebody that's gonna oversee that. You're not gonna have time to do it, or neither am I. Because we're gonna be buried with that country club.
Well, right. So I think,
to get this off the ground, there's gotta be somebody there that can, carry the ball.
So that's why I think this ranger thing is a little bit more, that would be easier. Opening the beach fully. So we can go walk through the other two just to get people up to speed here. The other two options, and there's, I mean, open to discussion. There's an option 4 that I'm not thinking of. We can talk about it. Option 2 would be just like we did last year. Beach is closed, the gate stays locked, and people walk around the fence, and we have nothing to do with it. Option 3 would be to push forward with what we've always done, lifeguards, with some changes that we would need to make to enforce COVID protocols, specifically the day pass. I don't think no matter what we do, we're going to be able to sell passes at the door just for crowd control. Unless the governor all of a sudden says you can have as many people as you want, social distancing doesn't need to happen anymore, then that's another story. I don't think that that's going to be the case this summer. I think there'll still be some restraints on how many people can gather in one place, even if it's outside. And I'm sure social distancing and masks will still be encouraged. But again, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. So that's kind of what I've been brainstorming the past month or so. And we don't have to decide anything today. It's just, I really did just want to get the conversation started on what, get everyone's opinion and if there's any other ideas.
Here's another thing that we didn't do last year, is I never prepped the beach. I York raked it and stuff like that, but we put $2,000 worth of washed sand in there every year.
That was on the expense. Yeah.
Because the way the wind blows and you laugh, but the current that comes, when the wind comes across that lake, it moves the sand all down to the other end of the beach, over the winter and over the year, and it's all a gravel base underneath it. It's very stony there, so we need to put sand back, and we put that in there every year, But I didn't do any last year, and I don't have that money. I mean, I've already got a purchase order made for this year if we do it, but I feel we need to do that anyways. We need to, stay up with it, and we didn't do it last year. So, I mean, we'll treat the weeds too, like we normally do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think I accounted for the sand.
Did you have sand down there?
I did. I think 1,500.
Yeah.
Sand. Yeah, 1,500.
So Jen,
And the bacteria testing.
in the heat of the virus last summer, when everybody was supposed to be good and not use the beach, how busy was the beach?
I didn't go every day, but on days that I did drive by, I felt like it was pretty busy. And I don't know if people weren't, I guess people weren't supposed to, but I think, and also too, it was, I think probably one of the only things you could really do. I think now too, this summer will look different with people going away or different types of camps and stuff. But I think for the most part, it was fairly busy. People went.
I was by it almost every day. It wasn't as busy as it normally is, but it was pretty busy. I mean, you could tell that people were hesitant to go there. The people that knew it was closed, abided by that. But there was a lot of people. I mean, it was busy, but not crazy like it usually is. The parking lot was never full like sometimes it is.
Got it. And Jen, what's the challenge? COVID aside for a second, what's the challenge to go back to the way we used to do it with the lifeguards? What's our hurdle this year?
If we didn't have COVID, it's just getting a manager to run the beach.
Yeah.
A waterfront director. We had for many years Nate Geringi, and he was awesome. And then when he left, we had 2 senior guards that had been there for 5-6 years. They stepped up and ran the beach in 2019, and last year they were on the fence about coming back because they're older college kids that need to start doing internships and all of that. So they were on the fence about coming back, and then COVID. So yeah, that is the big, having a manager down there, a director, and just overall lifeguards. Like I said, we are advertising the positions.
Yeah.
But I think I have two applications. So that's probably the biggest challenge.
I see. So resource wise.
And the fact too, like that we lose money. We lose so much money. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we just, it's, people like the beach obviously, but we lose so much money down there. It's at least 11,000. I mean, we lose 11,000 in a normal year. That's with swim lessons. Swim lessons isn't in here because I don't think that realistically we'll be able to do them just with COVID and the close proximity of the way people are going to have to be. But swim lessons is a big one that people like, and there's no, the kayak rentals and all that. That's not included in this revenue either because I don't know where they stand.
Got it. But it sounds like the same amount of money will be lost, whether it's rangers or lifeguards, though. Is that true?
Yeah, around if my estimates are somewhere in the right neck of the woods that people will buy these day passes.
Okay, got it.
Would you still sell season passes, Jen, or you can't because of the restrictions? I'm sorry if I missed that.
No, that didn't come up. Thank you. That's a good question. I meant to touch on that. So I thought about that and maybe limiting, maybe, only selling like 10 or 15 season passes. Because even I like I said, I think that 20 is low for the amount of people that we can have there and have them spaced out. So I think we could probably do maybe 10, 15 season passes. I mean, I last year was good, in the fact that I felt like people still got to swim. And now reading more about this rec statute, where if you don't charge people, if we kind of just advertise like, hey, the beach is open, go around the fence, use it. We test, we'll do the weed treatment. We test weekly for bacteria. It's just not going to be staffed with lifeguards. I don't know. I think that.
And that's how it's done in the town of Dudley. You can go to the beach. There's a big sign that says no lifeguards on duty, so much you're on risk. But like I said, everything's tested. Everything's cordoned off to let you know that this is as far as you can go. They have a bathroom that they open up, but it's different there because they have DPW that cleans it. But that's another conversation. But yeah, that's how it's done, and there's been no issues. So.
I guess this has been helpful. I probably need to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll plan another meeting, but this is kind of where we're at. And this is the first step of, I'm sure that this will have to go to the Board of Selectmen and some other people. But it's always nice. They always everyone always wants to know, what does the commission say? So that's why you're the first stop.
Yeah,
so they did go on what the commission said last year. It is our vote, even though we did have a little opposition from a couple of different boards, but it was our choice, and we voted unanimously to do this, and they went along with it. So
yeah,
so whatever we decide, I'm pretty sure they'll go along with, whether they like it or not. They might not everybody like it, but I think it's our vote to ride this out however we want to do it.
So Jen, if you can make sure that we have a chance to talk before the selectmen get to it again, just so we can all have our.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
I'm sorry if I missed this. I don't think I did. What about swim lessons?
Oh, so I was saying, I didn't think that, sorry, my internet is unstable. My swim lessons, I don't think at this point that we'd be able to run swim lessons this year. Just given the close proximity of, and like, you couldn't wear masks in the water.
The kids are taking
now you're
swim lessons,
unmasked.
though. You can take them. I mean, they offer them places. I'm just trying to think of a way to generate revenue so that you could cover your expenses, but not provide a lifeguard and not have to charge for parking. I was trying to think of a.
Yeah. And people want swim. The only questions that we're getting is people want swim lessons. I would love to offer them. Maybe that's a good idea, Colleen. Maybe I'll try to call Westborough Tennis and Swim or somewhere that's offering them, how they're doing it. I just feel like, is it a risk that we're putting a lifeguard are we putting a lifeguard at risk to teach swim lessons for $15 an hour? I don't know.
Could you have those? Could you
maybe I'll
not charge for parking and leave the beach kind of open, but provide swim lessons that would generate income to cover the expenses. And make it, and I think the question.
Yeah,
that
that's a
you're
great idea.
asking is the right one is like, does that make the person lie? Like, if I'm teaching a swim lesson and someone next to me starts drowning, do I have do I have a responsibility? Or am I liable?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. So I'll do some research on that to see what places that are doing swim lessons. Do you know, is it Westborough Tennis and Swim? Do you know, or
Yeah, Charlie's doing a swim
I
thing
mean,
there.
oh, that even the Goldfish Swim School. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Boston Sports used to do it too.
Okay. I'll do some research to see, because that would even be good. It would just be like, you know, if we were to run a program on a playground, the playgrounds are always open, but then if we were able to generate some money running an activity at a playground, that would be good. So if we could, you know, if the beach is closed, we don't have lifeguards, but we're offering swim lessons at these times, and then whatever money we make, you know, could help cover the bacteria testing, the weed treatment, because even if we were to keep last year when we kept the beach closed, we still did the weekly bacteria testing and the weed treatment. So we were into it for 500, you know, 5,300 bucks. Anyway, so. Okay. So we'll meet again probably the beginning of April. And hopefully too, by then we'll know more, like, cause I don't know if I had said it, but there's no formal guidance out yet from the state around aquatic facilities. So this is all, you know, he could say, hey, do what you want. There's no restrictions, but I doubt that.
So
Okay.
Jen, in the
Awesome.
meantime,
Anyone else? Yeah.
in the meantime, though, you will still try to find lifeguards. That's the plan.
Yeah, yep. The job posting is out there. We posted it on Indeed. The waterfront director job is on Indeed as well. So if you know anyone, have them apply. You know, I'm going to email the people that have said they want to come back to the beach, and the kids that applied, just kind of give them a heads up of where we're at, that we're just still trying to work things out. But yeah, no, if you know anybody, if anyone's watching, we'll be a lifeguard.
Sounds good.
Hiring.
Great.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll send a meeting reminder for early in April.
Sounds good.
Got a
Okay,
motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I second it.
Nick,
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.